How does the regulatory environment and the legalization of cannabis impact the commercial insurance world?
It impacts it greatly. It dictates so much of what we do in the space, and it's honestly different in state to state, whether it's a rec state or medical. Even in particular states like Massachusetts, where it's home for me, we have different regs for the medical side and very different ones for recreational. And on the recreational side, you're required to have a particular bond that you have to buy that's unique to Massachusetts. It's a particular coverage. It has to be done in a certain way so that the state will accept it. And it's very narrow and specific. It's not very expensive and something we can help place. But we notice that a lot of folks don't recognize that they need these nuanced coverages in different states. And that's part of our value proposition, is making sure that we're abreast of what's happening in all the states, whether they're green, going to become green, or we feel it's the Idaho of the world and they might be the last to go, but we're still going to be keeping an eye on the legislation to make sure that we're ahead of it. And I know, speaking of the Lee's home territory, they have their own set of regulations that he wades through on a daily basis. And Lee, can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, Michigan has some unique requirements for licensing. So in Michigan, the state, or the MRA, requires each licensee to have $100,000 in product liability coverage for marijuana and adulterated marijuana products. And that policy is not supposed to have any exclusions in it. So it's kind of a unique requirement. We have carriers that we work with that provide the coverage that the state is requiring, and it meets the wording exactly. There's other carriers that provide, a traditional product liability policy, and the wording may not meet exactly what the state is requesting. So there is some gray area in Michigan where it comes to the wording on the policy, but we do work with a carrier that does meet the requirement exactly as the state intends for it to be met.
More specifically, how do you think the federal legalization of cannabis will impact what you all do on a day-to-day basis?
It's hard to say. My concern with federal legalization is that it will become a Class 2 controlled substance, at which point it's going to be big pharma, and that's going to change the whole dynamic of the operators, the players in the space. It's going to really change how guys like Lee and I have to approach accounts, because we're not going to be working with the mom and pops and the small operations. It's going to be, I hate to say it, but the CVSs and the big shops. There will still always be boutique operators, as there are now, compared to the big MSOs we insure. But it's something that I don't want to say concerns me, but I want to see federal legalization. I want to see safe banking. I want these guys to have access to capital markets, credit card payment systems. But I also know on the other side of that comes what a Schedule II controlled substance looks like in the United States and the regulatory environment that goes with it. And honestly, I think that will take a lot of our insureds, and with one swipe of the pen, put them out of business, which we'll have to react to and shift our model. We're certainly ready to do that.